Uh, I'd like to start off by saying we are very happy to be associated with the Digital Empowerment Foundation and both the M-Billionth and the Manthan Awards. I disagree largely with the numbers that Osama gave, but that's all right, right? Someone has to disagree with these numbers. I disagree with these numbers. I don't think they're really as low as he's making them out to be. They're not as high as other people are making it out to be, but it's definitely not as bad as he's making out to be. I think there are two or three large, broad issues that I really want to focus on. The first one is the kind of challenges that we face, the larger regulatory and governance front as we make this transition into an environment or a society where most people are empowered with mobile phones. You will have questions about data privacy, you will have questions about what these people can access and what they can't access. You will have issues where multiple regulators have to sort of start playing ball. Because for instance, if you look at mobile banking, for instance, a lot of people would like to think that mobile banking has really done well and progressed, but it's got a big stumbling block. And the stumbling block is the Reserve Bank of India, which largely wants to protect banking interests. So, by and large, you have closed garden transactions that are allowed, open transactions are not really allowed. The mobile is not really you don't have something like, in Africa, for instance, the mobile as a currency, or the mobile phone as a currency is far more prevalent than it is in India, and I think at some point in time we'll have to address this. And the reason we'll have to address this is either through NPR or through Aadhaar or whatever else. I know there are lots of issues about Aadhaar. Many people don't think it's a great thing. But I think it's a good initiative simply because it gives you one unique ID, and then you can build multiple apps around those IDs, right? And those apps can pretty much do just about anything for anyone in this country. You can go out and use them. So we have to tackle these issues. We have to have a privacy law. I don't know where it stands. I know it's somewhere in the labyrinth works of the government. Work has started on a privacy law, but I don't even know whether a draft is ready. The RBI has to, come to the table and start encouraging mobile commerce and mobile banking in a far more serious manner and a far more open manner than it is done. And I think the way to start doing this would be for the Reserve Bank to stop representing the interests of banks, right? And looking at the larger interest of cashless transactions in this country. I think that's far more important. I'd like to end with, what we've seen in these awards over the last 4 years. The nature of these awards, and Mr. Ravi Shankar spoke about the kind of companies that are here. There is a significant fatality rate that you see in these companies or in these initiatives that happen, which is good. These things keep happening. And I think the good thing about many of these startups, especially in the social spaces, the entrepreneur tries something, it doesn't work. It's not as if that person goes and gets a job in a bank or something. You will find that these people invariably stay in the sector and they come up with something. But what I have noticed, and this is something that I don't particularly like, is that there's a huge emphasis on utilitarian services. I'd like to have much more of an emphasis on apps, and not just front end of apps, but apps that can be scaled up across the country, apps that can be scaled up from here and taken to other developing countries like Africa, other parts of Asia and things like that. And I think it's time that M-Billionth made the transition. This is year 4, right? Year 4? Year 4. And 4 years, I think, is sufficient time to sort of suss out the market and make sure that, things are good and get the infrastructure. Not so much infrastructure, lots needs to be done, but we have the basic building blocks in place. So I think the challenge needs to be the challenge is to really come up with these apps and products that can really be transplanted. Because I know that a lot of the entries that we get to see, and we profile the shortlisted entries in our newspaper and on our website, they're doing great work. But much of the work is of a scale that is small. Some of it is not scalable at all. And I think scalability is an issue. I'm convinced that it is possible to build these product-oriented apps that can really be scaled up across the country and outside the country. And hopefully next year or the year after that, we'll start seeing some entries like that. And that really means that Digital Empowerment Foundation and this award have contributed something to the cause of bridging the digital divide, not just in the country, but everywhere else. Thank you very much.